The red light flashed across the command center deep underground in Seoul. Admiral Hana stared at the massive screen showing the incoming message from space. Her hands were steady, but her heart was racing. After 50 years of preparing for this moment, it had finally come. The alien face on the screen was terrifying. Admiral Kethvar of the Axiom race looked like a walking crystal with glowing blue eyes. His voice was cold and sharp like broken glass when he spoke. "Humans of Earth," the alien said. "You have been found guilty by the Viridian Alliance. Your species spreads too fast. You fight too much. You are dangerous to the peace of the galaxy." Captain Wu stood beside Hana, his face getting red with anger. Commander Nari was taking notes, her pen moving quickly across the paper. Both officers knew this day would come, but hearing it still felt like a punch to the stomach. "We give you 72 hours, Kethvar continued. "Surrender your weapons, surrender your ships, surrender your freedom. If you do not, we will destroy every human in the galaxy. Every man, woman, and child will die. This is not a threat. This is a promise." The screen went black. The command center was silent except for the quiet hum of computers. 50 people worked at their stations, but nobody made a sound. They all looked at Admiral Hana, waiting for her to speak. Hana was quiet for a long moment. She thought about her daughter who lived in Busan. She thought about her parents who had died fighting in the Mars colonies. She thought about the billions of humans living on Earth and on planets across the galaxy. "Captain Wu," she said finally.
"What do we know about their fleet?"
Wu pulled up the data on his tablet. 50,000 ships, Admiral. The biggest fleet in galactic history. They have weapons that can crack planets in half. Their shields can stop anything we have ever built. "Commander Nari," Hana said. "What about diplomacy?" Nari shook her head. "They are not interested in talking, Admiral. Our spies say the decision was made months ago. The Alliance wants humans gone forever." Hana walked to the center of the room. Everyone stopped working and looked at her. She was not a tall woman, but she commanded respect. Her black hair was turning gray from years of stress. Her eyes were hard like steel. 50 years ago," she said, "my grandfather told me something. He said that humans are different from other species. We do not give up. We do not surrender. When someone tries to destroy us, we fight back harder than they ever expected." She walked to her command chair and pressed a red button that had been waiting for this moment for decades. Alarms started ringing throughout the building. Deep underground, machines that had been sleeping for years began to wake up. "Send the message," Hana ordered. "Protocol Crimson Dawn is now active." Captain Wu's fingers flew over his keyboard. Coded messages shot out from Earth to every corner of the solar system, to Titan Station hiding behind Saturn, to the asteroid belt where secret shipyards had been working for decades, to the gas giant Jupiter where entire fleets waited in the clouds. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Dal from his communications station, "all stations are responding. The Ghost Fleet is waking up." Hana smiled for the first time in hours. The aliens thought they knew everything about humanity. They had been watching Earth for years, counting human ships, studying human weapons. They thought humans were weak and primitive. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Commander Nari pulled up star charts on her screen. "The alien fleet will reach Earth in 6 days," she said. "Should we evacuate the cities?" "No," Hana said. "We stay and fight. Send a message to all human colonies. Tell them what is happening. Tell them to prepare." Captain Wu looked confused. "Admiral, with respect, we cannot win this fight. They have 50,000 ships. We have maybe 500 that they can see." Hana's smile grew wider. "Captain, they can see 500 of our ships, but they cannot see the other 200,000. The room fell silent again. Even the officers who knew about the secret projects felt their hearts skip a beat. 200,000 ships. It seemed impossible. "For 50 years, Hana explained, we have been building ships in secret, inside asteroids, inside the atmospheres of gas planets, in dimensions the aliens cannot detect. We learned from every alien ship that crashed on our worlds. We studied their technology and made it better." She pressed another button on her chair. The main screen showed images from across the solar system. Ships that looked like nothing the aliens had ever seen were powering up their engines. They were sleek and deadly, painted black like the space around them. "These are not normal human ships," Hana continued. "These ships can phase through dimensions. They can create gravity wells. They can absorb energy weapons and turn that energy into more power for their own guns." Lieutenant Tay at the weapons station was staring at his screen in amazement. "Admiral, the power readings from these ships are incredible. Each one is stronger than an entire alien battle group. The aliens think they are hunting sheep, Hana said. They do not know they are walking into a trap set by wolves. Commander Mina entered the command center carrying a thick folder of papers. She was the head of the secret shipyard projects, and she looked tired but excited. Admiral, she reported, all Baekdu-class dreadnoughts are ready for battle. The Hanbok-class fighters are loaded and waiting. The crews have been training for this day their entire lives. Hana nodded. How long until all ships are in position? 18 hours, Admiral. The aliens will never see them coming. The command center was now buzzing with activity. Officers were talking quickly into headsets. Screens showed data streaming in from across the solar system. The secret human fleet was moving into attack positions. Captain Wu was reading reports from the outer system. Admiral, our scouts report the alien fleet is moving slower than expected. They are being careful, checking for traps. Smart, Hana said, but not smart enough. She stood up from her chair and walked to the window that looked out over Seoul. The city was quiet, but she could see people in the streets looking up at the sky. They knew something was happening. In 3 days, she said to her officers, the aliens will arrive expecting to find scared humans begging for mercy. Instead, they will find the most dangerous predators in the galaxy waiting for them. The red alert lights were still flashing. The countdown had begun. In 72 hours, the galaxy would change forever. The Viridian fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. 50,000 alien warships spread out in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming like jewels in the starlight. Each ship was the size of a small city, armed with weapons that could destroy planets. General Voxtar of the Helix race stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Death's Promise. He was 12 feet tall with 4 arms and skin like metal armor. His yellow eyes scanned the displays showing human ships in the distance. Only 400 ships? He laughed, his voice like grinding gears. The humans are even weaker than we thought. Admiral Kethvar appeared on his communication screen. General, do not underestimate them. Humans are tricky creatures. Tricky? Voxtar waved one of his 4 hands dismissively. Look at their ships. They are tiny. They have no heavy weapons. This will be over in an hour. Deep inside Titan Station, Captain Inho was watching the alien fleet on his screens. The station looked like a regular mining facility from the outside, but inside it was the control center for humanity's greatest secret. For 30 years, Inho had been waiting for this moment. All Ghost Fleet commanders, he spoke into his headset. This is Titan Control. Begin Phase 1 activation. Across the solar system, impossible things began to happen. Inside the great red spot of Jupiter, massive shapes started to move. What looked like space debris near the asteroid belt began to unfold into warships. Empty space itself seemed to crack open as ships phased in from other dimensions. Commander Mina was aboard the dreadnought Baekdu's Fury, hidden inside a hollow asteroid. She had spent 20 years designing this ship with her team of engineers. It was 5 miles long and armed with weapons that could tear holes in space itself. All crew members, she announced over the ship's speakers, prepare for dimensional shift. We are going hunting. The asteroid around her ship dissolved like smoke. The Baekdu's Fury emerged, its black hull absorbing light like a hungry shadow. Along its sides, weapons that looked like silver dragons were powering up. Lieutenant Tay sat in the cockpit of his Hanbok-class fighter, one of 50,000 single-pilot ships that had been waiting for this day. His fighter was small, but it could manipulate gravity itself. He could make his enemies heavy enough to crush themselves or light enough to float helplessly in space. Ghostwing Alpha, he said into his radio. All fighters ready for launch. Copy that. Ghostwing Alpha, came the reply from Captain Dal aboard the command ship Soul's Pride. Show them what human pilots can do. The alien fleet had detected the small human ships and was moving to attack. General Voxtar was confident this would be easy. His ships had shields that could stop any weapon. His guns could melt through any armor. All ships, he commanded, advance and destroy the humans. Leave no survivors. But as the alien fleet moved forward, their sensors began picking up strange readings. More ships were appearing out of nowhere. At first it was dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. General, his sensor officer reported, I am detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. It appears we missed something in our intelligence reports. Voxtar looked at his screens in confusion. Where there had been empty space moments before, human ships were materializing everywhere. They were unlike anything in the galactic databases. These ships seemed to bend light around themselves. They moved in ways that should have been impossible. Captain Inho smiled as he watched the alien confusion from Titan Station. Phase 2, he ordered. Full fleet reveal. The solar system filled with human warships. They emerged from inside gas giant atmospheres, unfolded from asteroid belts and stepped sideways from hidden dimensions. In 10 minutes, the human fleet grew from 400 ships to over 200,000. Commander Mina's dreadnought was leading a group of similar massive ships. Each one was armed with dimension-ripping cannons and protected by shields that existed in multiple realities at the same time. She had named them after Korean mountains because they were as immovable and dangerous as the peaks of her homeland. All Baekdu-class ships, she commanded, target the enemy flagship. Let them see what human engineering can do. The Baekdu's Fury fired its main weapon. A beam of twisted space-time shot across millions of miles and struck General Voxtar's ship. The alien shields that had never failed before simply disappeared, dissolved by weapons that attacked reality itself. Lieutenant Tay and his fighter squadron were already among the alien ships. His small craft danced between the massive enemy vessels like deadly butterflies. When alien weapons tried to target him, he would increase his ship's gravity field and fall faster than their guns could track. This is Ghostwing Alpha, he reported. Enemy weapons are useless against gravity fighters. Beginning attack runs, his fighter squadron swarmed over the alien ships like angry bees. They would land on the enemy hulls, plant gravity mines that would crush the ships from the inside, then fly away before the aliens knew what hit them. General Voxtar's bridge was in chaos. His ships were being destroyed by weapons they had never seen before. His sensors could not track the human fighters. His shields were being eaten away by strange energy beams. All ships retreat, he ordered. Fall back to defensive positions. But as the alien fleet tried to retreat, they discovered that human ships had surrounded the entire solar system. There was no escape. Captain Dal aboard Soul's Pride had been feeding false information to the aliens for weeks through hidden spy networks. Every piece of intelligence they had about human capabilities was wrong. Every tactical plan they had made was useless. Admiral Hana, he reported to Earth Command, the aliens are trying to run. Should we let them go? From her underground bunker, Admiral Hana's voice was cold and hard. No survivors leave this system, Captain. They came here to commit genocide. They need to learn that attacking humanity has consequences. The human fleet moved like a perfectly coordinated machine. Ships that could phase through dimensions appeared inside alien formations. Gravity-based weapons crushed enemy vessels like tin cans. Energy-absorbing armor turned alien laser blasts into power for human guns. Commander Mina watched as her dreadnought's weapons tore through an entire alien battle group. The enemy ships were strong, but they were built to fight conventional warfare. They had no defense against weapons that attacked the basic forces of physics. Target their command ships, she ordered. Cut off their communications. Make them fight alone and afraid. General Voxtar realized that his mighty fleet was being destroyed by an enemy they had completely misunderstood. These humans were not the primitive savages from intelligence reports. They were apex predators who had been pretending to be prey. Send an emergency message to the Alliance, he commanded his communications officer. Tell them we need immediate reinforcements. Tell them everything we knew about humans was wrong. But even as he gave the order, Voxtar knew it was too late. His ship was surrounded by human fighters that moved like ghosts and struck like lightning. His shields were failing. His weapons were useless. The last thing he saw before his ship exploded was a human fighter pilot through his view screen. Lieutenant Tay gave him a small salute before his gravity mine turned the Death's Promise into a cloud of twisted metal. In 6 hours, the mighty Viridian fleet was reduced to burning wreckage floating in space. Not a single human ship was destroyed. The solar system belonged to Earth, and the galaxy was about to learn that humanity was no longer hiding. Admiral Bora stood on the bridge of the Teguk, humanity's largest warship. The ship was 10 miles long and armed with weapons that could create artificial black holes. Around her, the solar system was filled with the wreckage of the Viridian fleet, but the battle was far from over. Admiral, reported her tactical officer, we are receiving emergency transmissions from the aliens. They are calling for help from their home systems. Bora smiled coldly. She had been planning this moment for 20 years. The destruction of the Viridian invasion fleet was just the beginning. Now humanity would show the galaxy what true warfare looked like. Let them call, she said. We want their reinforcements to come. The more aliens we destroy here, the fewer we have to hunt down later. Commander Jun was leading a squadron of Arirang-class destroyers toward the surviving alien ships. His vessels were smaller than the enemy warships, but they were armed with quantum disruptors that could unravel matter at the molecular level. All Arirang ships, he commanded, target the alien command vessels. Show them what happens when you threaten human children. The human destroyers opened fire with weapons that made reality itself unstable. The alien ships' energy shields, which had protected them in countless battles, simply fell apart when hit by the quantum beams. The proud warships of the Viridian Alliance dissolved like sugar in rain. Captain Yuna was piloting the experimental ship Hwarang, a vessel that defied everything the aliens thought they knew about physics. Her ship could split into 12 separate units, each controlled by advanced artificial intelligence systems named after Korean historical heroes. Admiral Yi, take point, she commanded her ship's AI. General Yulji, flank left. King Sejong, prepare the trap. The Hwarang broke apart like a flower opening its petals, 12 deadly ships where there had been one, each moving with perfect coordination. The aliens fired desperately at what they thought was a single target, only to discover they were fighting an entire fleet. The remaining Viridian ships were trapped in the middle of the solar system with nowhere to run. Their faster-than-light engines had been disabled by human gravity weapons. Their communication systems were being jammed by technology that existed in multiple dimensions at once. General Kyung appeared on Admiral Bora's communication screen from his ship Bulguksa. He was the oldest human commander in the fleet, a veteran of the secret wars that had been fought in the shadows for decades. Admiral, he reported, our intelligence was correct. The aliens have no defense against dimensional warfare. Their technology is advanced, but it is limited to normal spacetime. Bora nodded. For 50 years, humanity had been reverse engineering crashed alien technology, but instead of simply copying what they found, human engineers had improved it. They had made it better, faster, deadlier. How many alien ships are still functional? She asked. Less than 5,000, Kyung replied, and they are scattered across the system. Most of them are trying to hide behind planets or moons. Then it is time for the demonstration, Bora decided. Show the galaxy what human mercy looks like. She opened a communication channel to all alien ships in the system. Her image appeared on their screens. A small Korean woman with graying hair and eyes like steel. Attention, Viridian forces, she said calmly. You came here to commit genocide against my species. You plan to kill every human man, woman, and child in the galaxy. This was your choice. On the alien ships, terrified crews listened to the human admiral's words. They had never seen warfare like this. Their weapons were useless. Their shields were gone. Their mighty fleet was scattered wreckage. However, Bora continued, humans are not monsters. We do not kill for pleasure. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to galactic law. Continue fighting, and you will be destroyed with weapons you cannot understand. Some alien ships immediately powered down their weapons and sent surrender signals, but others, driven by pride or desperation, continued to fight. Commander Jun's squadron encountered a group of stubborn alien cruisers hiding behind Mars. The enemy ships opened fire with everything they had, filling space with deadly energy beams. All Arirang ships, Jun commanded, demonstrate void steel armor. The human destroyers flew directly into the alien weapon fire. The energy beams struck their hulls and simply disappeared, absorbed by armor that turned enemy attacks into fuel for their own systems. The aliens watched in horror as their most powerful weapons made the human ships stronger. Return fire, Jun ordered. Quantum disruptors, minimum power. We want prisoners, not corpses. The human weapons reached out like invisible hands and gently took apart the alien ships. Hulls separated along molecular lines. Weapon systems simply stopped existing. Life support remained intact, keeping the alien crews alive but helpless. Captain Yuna's Hwarang was hunting alien scouts near Jupiter. The enemy ships were fast and tried to use the planet's gravity to escape, but they had never fought an opponent that could control gravity itself. King Sejong, she told her ship's AI, create a gravity well around Jupiter, make it impossible for them to escape. Space around the gas giant twisted and bent. The fleeing alien ships found themselves trapped in artificial gravity fields that pulled them in circles like water going down a drain. They could not escape, but they were not being destroyed either. Admiral Yi, Yuna continued, disable their engines. General Yulji, jam their communications. I want them alive for questioning. The Hwarang's 12 components moved like dancers around the trapped aliens. Precision weapons reached out and carefully destroyed only the systems needed to make the enemy ships helpless. The alien crews were captured without a single death. Back on the Taeguk, Admiral Bora was receiving reports from across the solar system. Human forces were systematically capturing or destroying every alien ship, but they were doing it with surgical precision that amazed even her experienced officers. Admiral, her communications officer reported, "We are receiving surrender signals from over 3,000 alien ships. They are requesting mercy terms." "Grant them," Bora ordered, "but keep them under guard. We will need them as witnesses to what happened here." General Kyung's voice came over the fleet communication network. "All ships, this is Kyung. Long-range sensors detect reinforcement fleets approaching from 12 different Viridian home systems. Estimated arrival time 6 days. Bora felt her heart race with anticipation. The real battle was about to begin. The destruction of the invasion fleet was just a warm-up exercise. "Attention all human forces," she announced. Phase 3 is now active. Operation Dragon's Flight begins in 12 hours. We are going to visit our new alien friends in their home systems. Across the solar system, human ships began forming into attack groups. These were not the same vessels that had fought defensively around Earth. These were hunter-killer fleets designed to carry the war directly to enemy territory. The aliens had made a terrible mistake when they decided to destroy humanity. They thought they were dealing with a weak species that could be easily eliminated. Instead, they had awakened the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. And now those predators were coming for them. Captain Yuna's Hwarang was already preparing to jump to faster-than-light travel. Her target was the Axiom home system, where Admiral Kethvar had originated the order to destroy humanity. "All AI systems," she commanded, "prepare for deep space hunting. It is time to show the Axioms what happens when you threaten human families." The artificial intelligences controlling her ship's 12 components responded in unison. "Understood, Captain. Initiating Dragon protocols. The hunt begins." In 6 hours, humanity would strike back at the heart of the Viridian Alliance. The aliens had started this war expecting easy victory. They were about to learn that destroying Earth's children was the last mistake they would ever make. Captain Hoon stood in the command center of his strike fleet as 12,000 human warships prepared to jump through experimental wormholes. His target was the Axiom home system, the crystal world where Admiral Kethvar had sentenced humanity to death. "All ships," he announced, "remember the mission. We are not conquerors, we are teachers. The lesson is simple. Attacking human families has consequences." The wormhole generators powered up around his flagship Dragon's Breath. These machines were based on alien technology that humans had captured and improved over decades of secret research. But where aliens used wormholes for transportation, humans had weaponized them. Commander Sora was studying intelligence reports at her station. For 30 years, she had been running spy networks throughout Viridian space. Human agents disguised as traders, diplomats, and refugees had been mapping every alien military base, every fleet position, every weakness. "Captain," she reported, "all 12 target systems have been confirmed. Military installations identified. Civilian populations located and marked for protection. We know where every alien ship is hiding." Hoon nodded. The aliens thought they were fighting a primitive species that had just discovered space travel. They had no idea that humans had been watching them for generations, learning their secrets, preparing for this day. "Execute Dragon's Flight," he commanded. 12,000 human ships disappeared into artificial wormholes and reappeared simultaneously at 12 different alien home systems across the galaxy. The coordinated attack was precise to the second, catching the aliens completely unprepared. In the Axiom system, Admiral Kethvar was in his command center when alarms began screaming throughout the Crystal City. His sensors showed impossible readings. Thousands of human warships had appeared from nowhere surrounding his homeworld. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Humans do not have wormhole technology." His tactical officer was studying the sensor data with confusion. "Admiral, these are not the same ships we encountered at Earth. These vessels are larger, more heavily armed, and their energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases." Admiral Chan commanded the human siege fleet that had appeared around the Axiom homeworld. His ships were Bulguksa-class vessels, each one capable of manipulating gravity on a planetary scale. But instead of destroying the crystal cities below, they were doing something far more terrifying. All Bulguksa ships, Chan ordered, activate gravitational lenses, disable all military targets with precision strikes, avoid civilian casualties. The human warships reached out with invisible hands of twisted gravity. Alien military bases were gently compressed until their weapons stopped working. Spaceports were carefully disassembled while leaving nearby hospitals untouched. Defense satellites were plucked from orbit and set down in empty fields. Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as his planet's defenses were methodically disabled without a single explosion. The humans were demonstrating surgical precision that should have been impossible in space warfare. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we are receiving similar reports from all Alliance home systems. Human fleets have appeared everywhere simultaneously. They are disabling our military forces without destroying our cities." Lieutenant Commander Yoon was leading boarding parties onto captured alien ships throughout the galaxy. Her teams moved through enemy vessels with equipment that seemed like magic to the aliens. Gravity suits that let humans walk on walls and ceilings. Energy weapons that could stun enemies without permanent damage. "Secure the bridge," she commanded as her team moved through a Helix warship. "Remember, we want prisoners, not corpses. These aliens have families too." The Helix crew had barricaded themselves in their command center, but human technology made their defenses useless. Yoon's soldiers walked through solid walls using dimensional phase shifters. They appeared behind enemy positions like ghosts. "Surrender!" she called out in perfect Helix language. Human linguists had been studying alien communications for decades. "You are defeated, but you are not doomed. Cooperate, and you will be treated with respect." The alien captain was a massive creature with 4 arms and metal skin, but he was shaking with fear. He had heard stories about human brutality from Viridian propaganda. He expected torture and execution. Instead, when he surrendered, the humans gave him medical attention for wounds suffered in the battle. They provided food that met his species' dietary needs. They even allowed him to contact his family to tell them he was alive. Captain Hoon received reports from strike fleets across the galaxy. Every human attack had succeeded perfectly. Alien military forces were being systematically dismantled while civilian populations remained unharmed. "Commander Sora," he said, "what are the casualty reports?" Sora checked her data screens. "Minimal losses on both sides, Captain. Human forces have disabled over 50,000 alien military vessels. Enemy military casualties are less than 10,000. Civilian casualties are 0. Hoon felt proud of his species. Humans could have destroyed entire worlds in revenge for the attempted genocide. Instead, they were showing mercy that the aliens had never expected, but the demonstration of human power was having effects across the galaxy that went far beyond military victory. On the Helix homeworld, General Torval was receiving reports that terrified him more than any battle could. The humans were not just defeating his forces, they were studying them, learning from them, taking their technology and making it better. "Sir," his science officer reported, "the humans have captured our latest battlecruiser designs. But according to our sensors, they are already modifying the ships with improvements we never thought of." "What kind of improvements?" Torval demanded. "They have increased engine efficiency by 40%. They have made the shield stronger while using less power. They have added weapon systems that operate in multiple dimensions simultaneously." Torval realized the terrible truth. Humans were not just winning this war, they were learning from it. Every alien technology they captured made them stronger. Every battle made them smarter. The Viridian alliance began to fracture as member species realized they were facing an enemy beyond their understanding. The Moss people surrendered their entire fleet without firing a shot. The Silicon Collective offered to share their technology in exchange for peace. The energy beings simply disappeared into deep space, hoping to avoid human attention. Admiral Chan was coordinating the occupation of 12 alien home systems from his flagship. Human ships were positioned around every planet. but they were not behaving like conquerors. Instead, they were offering aid to alien populations that had been oppressed under Viridian rule. Captain Lee, he spoke to one of his subordinates. What is the situation on the former slave worlds? Captain Lee's image appeared on his screen from orbit around a planet where millions of aliens had been forced to work in mines. Admiral, the local population is celebrating our arrival. They are calling us liberators, not invaders. This was happening throughout Viridian space. Species that had been conquered by the Alliance were welcoming human forces as rescuers. The galaxy was learning that humans fought wars to protect the innocent, not to gain territory. But the most important lesson was being learned by the Viridian leadership themselves. They had started this war believing that humans were violent savages who needed to be destroyed. Instead, they discovered that humans were the most precise warriors in the galaxy. Admiral Kethvar sat in his crystal prison cell, guarded by human soldiers who treated him with professional courtesy. Through his window, he could see his homeworld functioning normally. The humans had removed his military forces but left his people free. Why? He asked his human guard, a young woman named Private Yoon. Why do you show mercy to enemies who planned your extinction? Private Yoon considered the question seriously. Because, she said finally, showing mercy when you have absolute power is what separates civilization from barbarity. You tried to destroy us because you feared what we might become. We are showing you what we choose to be. Across the galaxy, the message was spreading through every communication network. Humanity had not just survived the attempt at genocide, they had turned the tables completely. The hunters had become the hunted, but the predators had chosen to be protectors. The war that was supposed to end humanity had instead announced their arrival as the galaxy's new guardians. And every species in known space was beginning to understand that the age of Viridian dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun. The news traveled faster than light across the galaxy through quantum communication networks. In less than 1 week, humanity had destroyed the most powerful military fleet in galactic history and occupied 12 major star systems without killing a single civilian. Species that had never heard of Earth were suddenly very interested in learning about humans. Captain Ray stood on the bridge of the Cheongwade as it approached the Telthan-home system. Her ship looked like a diplomatic vessel from the outside, but it was actually a mobile fortress that could destroy entire solar systems. The message was clear. Humanity came in peace but was prepared for anything. Captain, her communications officer reported, we are receiving over 3,000 requests for diplomatic meetings. Every major species in this sector wants to talk to us. Ray smiled. 3 weeks ago, most alien species had ignored humans or treated them like annoying insects. Now they were begging for meetings and offering gifts. Fear was a powerful motivator. Schedule meetings with the reasonable ones, she decided. For the others, let them wait. They need to learn that threatening human children has consequences. Admiral Sung was overseeing the transformation of former Viridian territories from his command ship New Sol. Planets that had been under alien military rule for centuries were voting to join the newly formed Terran Federation. The aliens had ruled through fear, but humans were ruling through hope. Admiral, reported Colonel Jin from the surface of a liberated world, the local population has requested human governance systems. They want individual freedoms and scientific research programs like the ones on Earth. Sung nodded. This was happening everywhere. Alien populations that had been oppressed for generations were embracing human ideas about democracy, education, and technological progress. The galaxy was changing faster than anyone had expected, but the most important changes were happening in the minds of alien leaders who were beginning to understand what they had attempted to destroy. Commander, I was studying reports from human research teams across occupied space. They had been analyzing captured alien technology and making discoveries that explained humanity's rapid victory. Admiral, she told Sung, we now understand why human engineering surpassed alien technology so quickly. It is not just about intelligence, it is about how human brains work. She displayed brain scans on the main screen showing the differences between human and alien neural patterns. Alien minds are highly logical and organized, she explained. They think in straight lines and follow established patterns. This makes them excellent at improving existing technology, but terrible at revolutionary breakthroughs. And human minds? Sung asked, though he suspected he knew the answer. Human brains are chaotic, Na continued. Our neural networks are unpredictable, emotional, creative. We make connections that logical minds cannot see. We imagine possibilities that organized thinking cannot reach. Sung understood. Humans had not won this war through superior firepower or better organization. They had won through superior imagination. While aliens had been improving their existing weapons, humans had been inventing entirely new forms of warfare. The psychological impact of this realization was spreading through alien populations like a virus. Species that had considered themselves superior to humans were discovering that they had been surpassed by the galaxy's most creative minds. Captain Bin was leading exploration missions to the edge of Viridian space, searching for species that might still be hostile to humanity. His ship Pioneer's Dream was equipped with the most advanced sensors in human history. But he was also carrying ambassadors and teachers. Captain, his science officer reported, long-range sensors have detected a massive alien fleet hiding in the Vortex Nebula. Energy signatures suggest they are preparing for war. Bin studied the data. The fleet was composed of species he had never encountered before, aliens from outside. Viridian space who had heard about humanity's victories and decided to attack before humans could grow stronger. How many ships? He asked. Approximately 80,000 vessels, Captain. They appear to be from multiple species working together. Bin considered his options. His single ship was outnumbered 80,000 to 1. Any sane commander would retreat and call for reinforcements. But Bin was human, and humans had stopped being sane the day aliens threatened their families. Send them a message, he decided. Tell them they have one chance to surrender peacefully. His communications officer looked confused. Sir, they outnumber us massively. Should we not request backup? No, Bin said calmly. Let them see what one human ship can do. Sometimes the best diplomacy is a demonstration of overwhelming force. The Pioneer's Dream moved toward the hidden alien fleet alone. The enemy commanders watched in disbelief as a single human vessel approached their armada. They assumed it was either a trick or an act of suicide. They were about to learn it was neither. Back in the occupied territories, former Viridian leaders were being educated about human history and culture. The goal was not to humiliate them, but to help them understand why their attempted genocide had failed so completely. Admiral Kethvar was attending a lecture by Professor Song, a human historian who specialized in warfare. The crystal being had expected propaganda and threats. Instead, he was receiving the most comprehensive military education of his life. The key to understanding human warfare, Professor Song explained, is understanding human motivation. Other species fight for territory, resources, or dominance. Humans fight for family. She showed images of human colonies, families, children playing in parks on distant worlds. When you threatened our children, she continued, you did not threaten our government or our military. You threatened every human's reason for living. You turned every mother and father in our species into your personal enemy. Kethavar was beginning to understand the magnitude of the Alliance's mistake. They had not declared war on a government or an army. They had declared war on love itself, but why show mercy? He asked. Why not destroy us completely? Professor Song smiled sadly. Because that would make us like you. Humans fight to protect our families, not to destroy other people's families. The moment we become genocidal monsters is the moment we lose what makes us worth protecting. Similar conversations were happening across human-occupied space. Alien prisoners were being educated rather than executed. Former enemies were being offered chances at redemption. The galaxy was witnessing something unprecedented. A conquest based on moral superiority rather than military might. Captain Ray was meeting with representatives of the Ethereal Collective, a species of energy beings who controlled trade routes throughout the galaxy. They had requested the meeting after witnessing human precision in warfare. We wish to understand, their spokesperson communicated through light patterns, how your species achieved such rapid technological advancement. Our scientists estimate it should have taken millennia to develop such capabilities. Ray considered how to explain human development without revealing military secrets. We had excellent teachers, she said finally. Every crashed alien ship on our worlds, every piece of technology we traded for, every spy we caught gave us information. We learned from all of you. But learning and improving are different things, the ethereal replied. You did not simply copy our technology. You made it better. How? Because, Ray explained, you taught us separately. The axioms taught us about energy manipulation. The helix taught us about gravity control. The Moss people taught us about biological systems. You all kept your knowledge secret from each other, but you shared it with us through trade and warfare. The realization hit the ethereal like a physical blow. Humanity had become technologically superior by combining the best innovations from every species in the galaxy. While aliens had competed with each other, humans had learned from everyone. We propose an alliance, the ethereal finally communicated. Our people wish to join the Terran Federation. Ray nodded. This was the 15th species to make such a request this week. The galaxy was choosing sides and most were choosing humanity, but the most important development was happening on Earth itself. Admiral Hana stood in the same underground command center, where she had received the alien ultimatum, but now she was planning humanity's future as a galactic power. Admiral, Captain Wu reported, we have received formal surrender documents from 43 alien species. They are requesting integration into human territory under Federation law. And the holdouts? Hana asked. 17 species are still hostile, Commander Nari replied. But intelligence suggests they are more afraid of each other than they are of us. Some are requesting human protection from traditional enemies. Hana realized that humanity had achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. They had become the dominant military power not through conquest, but through demonstration of moral and technological superiority. The war that was meant to end humanity had instead established them as the galaxy's new leaders. And unlike every previous dominant species, humans were using their power to create rather than destroy. The age of human guardianship had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.